Hey everybody, today I would like to go over graphite and how graphite responds and how the heck do you even use graphite in a drawing. So, graphite is a great learning tool, I think. I think graphite is awesome if you're trying to learn a new subject or if you are trying to experiment with a new style or something or any of that stuff. And I really, really love graphite for this. I think graphite is really awesome for that. Graphite is also really great for fundamentals, like practicing your fundamentals. It's really awesome for that as well. What else? Graphite, the way that it responds on the paper is really nice too. It's very precise. Like graphite is a very precise medium. You have to be kind of purposeful with what you are doing when you're using graphite, because it's very precise the way that it behaves on the paper. Sorry, that's my cat. That's my cat. Of course she comes in while I'm doing something important. But graphite is really nice for these kinds of things. You have to be very deliberate about your intention setting when you're drawing with graphite, because your intention is very important. A lot of people don't really think about that when they're drawing. Like, what are my design choices, and what are those design intentions that I have in mind for this, right? And that's super important when you're using graphite, because it's just there's no color with graphite, so you can't really hide behind the color of a particular medium. Like if I were using colored pencils, I might be able to hide behind some mistakes behind the color of a particular medium. Now, since I'm using graphite, I can't really do that because it's just gray. It's monochromatic, graphite is. So it's very important that you be very intentional with your design choices. Sorry, I have to shoo my cat out. Hold on. Okay, we're back, and we're going back over intention setting. For this intention setting, like, you have to know like what subjects you're trying to draw and stuff. And I'm very bad at public speaking, so I apologize. My confidence level in when it comes to making videos is not very high. But what artist has social skills? You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. Like, what artist has any social skills whatsoever? If that is like something that I have learned, is like most artists don't, and we're just really good at what we do, which is making art, and that's that's what we're good at. And when it comes to other things, we're not really that great at it. But art is really good. We're really good at that. Okay. So when I'm talking about graphite, I also want to keep in mind like the pressure that I'm putting on the pencil, because you can't be heavy-handed. I used to be very heavy-handed because I was so anxious when I was drawing. I used to be that type of person who was very anxious while they were drawing. I'm not anymore, thankfully. But you have to be calm and loose when you're drawing with graphite, and don't tense up, because the moment you tense up, like, a lot of the quality in the art is going to go away. So you need to be very purposeful and very loose at the same time. It's a balancing act. Graphite is a very big balancing act. So you have to be loose but intentful and purposeful. And there's a balance that you have to get between this. Now, this eye that I'm drawing, I've drawn this a million times. I've drawn this a million times, as you know from my YouTube shorts, that I really like to draw this stuff. And it's really cool. There's a lot of potential in this subject, I think. Now, the subject that you draw can be different. It doesn't have to be an eye in particular. But your intention matters, especially when you're studying an artwork and you're trying to figure out how an artist did something. Like, how did they get that edge to look the way that it does, right? And you're just trying to figure that out. The intention that they had, the design choice. So was it like a golden era illustrator, like a J.C. Leyendecker, or was it like an oil painter like Solomon J. Solomon? You know, it's the intention matters, and especially matters with graphite if you're working with graphite, because graphite, you'll find, is very, very specific. You have to be very purposeful and intentful with graphite. You can't hide behind color. You can't hide behind anything, really, with graphite, because it's very raw. It's a very raw kind of medium, like. And I think that's why I've kind of gravitated towards graphite. As you'll know from my shorts, I always go towards graphite or watercolors. I do like watercolors. Watercolors are nice. They're very nice. Very nice how they respond. It takes some time to get used to the water control when you're using watercolors, but with graphite, right, it's always in the precision, the way you hold the pencil, the way that you put down your value, the way that you do all that stuff, that matters a lot with graphite, because you can try and do something, you can try and draw something, and it come across as something completely different because your intentions were obscured. Like, if I'm drawing and my intention is to draw an eye, but it doesn't look like an eye, right? It doesn't come out looking like an eye. That means my intention when I was drawing was not very clear, and I need to have a very clear intention, especially with graphite. So, I'm just laying down this value here. And value is very important for graphite as well, because you're not really working with color. You're working with plain black and white. Or it's not as extreme as like pen, ballpoint pen or something. It's not as extreme as that. But it's not as extreme as ballpoint pen, but it's got the same black and white philosophy. So you have to, like, when you're laying down your values, be very careful. Excuse me. So this eye that I'm drawing, I've drawn it like 1,000 times. Probably. I've drawn it so many times. But the intentionality, each time I draw this, it reinforces the topics that I've been learning about art. And there's a benefit that goes into drawing when it comes to drawing the same thing over and over and over again. So, but yeah, your intentions are everything with graphite. Like, what are your intentions with the values that you're laying down, that you're laying in, you know, those kinds of things. Like, do you want it to be more dark, or do you want it to be in between? Do you want it to be something that's in between, right? Like something where it balances light and dark, or do you want it to be light? Do you want it to be mostly lights or mostly darks? Like, it really just depends on your intentions, because you need to be very, very specific about what you want to draw beforehand. Intentions mean a lot. And when you're dealing with the graphite in particular. So, yeah. Now, this one thing that's here is I need to be a little bit tighter with the way that I'm laying in the values. A little bit tighter there. because you can see there's some paper. There's some white paper going in there. We don't want to see the white paper when it comes to graphite. Unless you're specifically designing a highlight. Like, we don't want to see the white of the paper. We want to fill it all in when you're laying this stuff in. And I would say it's not bad. It's not bad. There's a cool kind of thing that happens when you start drawing the same thing over and over again, because your intentions start becoming more clear. What you want to do as an illustrator, right? Like, what are your aspirations as an illustrator? Do you want to be a graphite artist? Do you want to be a watercolorist? Do you want to be a gouache painter? You know, that kind of stuff really matters. And graphite, when you start with graphite, it really makes you think. Like, it makes you think about stuff. Okay, so you can see here. I'm just trying to make these edges show a little bit clearer. So intentions. They matter a lot with graphite, and that's one of the things that I really struggled with. Also, sometimes you'll notice the sheen that happens if you press real hard. So really try and be light-handed, because if you are not light-handed and you're heavy-handed, the sheen will show up like a lot. It will bother you. It will bother you quite a bit. Now, I'd say I'm putting about medium pressure on this drawing in particular. There's not too much sheen on it. So, oh, yeah, see, no whites in the paper. Now, when you're covering a big area, that can be hard. That can be a bit hard. When you're covering the paper with, and it also really depends on the medium and the tool that you're using too. So yeah, there's this little eye thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. Okay. So yeah. The lay-in process is very, very important. And graphite gets you real accustomed to laying stuff in. Graphite sure does. Yeah, intentions. And then, if you want to, you can sign it. I mean, I think this drawing is complete. So yeah. Intentions. That is the topic of this video, is the intention setting. So, yeah, this is done. This would be done now. Okay, yeah, that's done. That's done. Don't overwork it. Intention setting, I would say. Make sure that your intentions are clear before you start a medium like graphite. And yeah, have fun with it. You know, these are like the rewards of your training, right? So you have to really have fun with what you're doing, because why would you have chosen art as a practice if it's not fun? I mean, like, you gotta have a little bit of fun when you're drawing. So yeah, just a reminder to have fun with it, you know. So yeah, that is intention setting.